Hey, it's Lawrence here with High Intensity Business. This is just a very quick intro, just to say that this is a great interview with HIT veteran Chuck Bixby, but it just takes a few minutes for us to warm up. So please stick with us as we get into some really fun stories about the late, great Roger Schwab. And we talk about Chuck's exciting next chapter and new service helping you get time back in your HIT studio. So you want to stay tuned for all of that and much more. And please enjoy the podcast. Lawrence Snell here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for growing your HIT business and fueling your passion for high-intensity training. My guest today is my good friend, Chuck Bixby. Chuck is a seasoned fitness professional since 1977. He's worked in various settings, including academic, corporate, clinical, and commercial environments. His passion for high-intensity training began in 1984 during graduate school, and it deepened in 1986 after meeting Roger Schwab at a Philadelphia Human Performance Lab. Chuck holds a master's degrees in physical education and clinical exercise physiology, is certified by the American College of Exercise, and has an exercises medicine level 3 credential, highlighting his commitment to advancing even, fitness and exercise science. Chuck, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Well, thanks, Lars. My pleasure.
You're most welcome. It's good to finally do this. So I thought we would start with a little history lesson, and maybe you can just take us back to your time in, working in health and fitness, from the beginning, really.
Yeah, it's not a very interesting story, but I'll try and make it interesting. But
That's a great start.
I started my interest in health and fitness kind of all started when I was doing my undergrad work back in the mid to late 70s. And I started working in an adult fitness program where I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and basically just walk around a gym with people that wanted to get some type of endurance activity in. And it was really just a social hour more than anything. But I did that for 4 years. So, but I did take a real interest. I was working on a degree in physical education, but I took a real interest in exercise physiology. Really enjoyed those courses. And then later in life, I got out. Decided I didn't want to teach school. I actually worked in the textile industry and as a production manager. But went back
knitting sweaters.
Well, I was knitting industrial fabric, so I was making like grass catcher bags, lawn liners, and all that kind of great stuff. So, and actually, I made just to the side, had the most sophisticated knitting machine in the world that made a waistband material that went into polyester pants back when everybody was wearing polyester pants to keep the pant from rolling. It was called band roll. But at any rate,
Interesting.
sorry for the sidetrack there, but it was interesting work. But I really wanted to get back to. I decided maybe I wanted to go back to teaching, so I went back to graduate school, and to work on a graduate degree in physical education. And I got a teaching assistantship in the exercise physiology lab. So I taught all the undergrad exercise physiology labs and while I was working on my graduate degree. And as I was there, took an interest in cardiac rehabilitation. At the time, that I was aware of, there was like 3 different programs in the U.S. And so when I finished my grad program at Western Carolina in physical education, I went on to do another graduate degree in primary prevention and cardiac rehabilitation at East Stroudsburg University in Northeast Pennsylvania. And it was a cool experience because they had coursework. I had an internship, went hands-on, went concurrently with the coursework at the hospital that was adjacent to the campus. So from day one, we were thrust into these rotations in the hospital where we would might do an ultrasound rotation, for example, or I might do a phase 2 cardiac rehab for more acute patients, heart patients, or might work into the phase 3 program, which ran on a track over at the college, and read EKGs with the cardiologist. Would have to sit and read EKGs with the cardiologist, all the EKGs from the day in the hospital, and hopefully you got them right, because if you didn't get them right, then you got whacked in the back of the head with his college ring. So I got pretty good at it. So there were a few fellows that really took some lumps for sure.
Oh.
But it's
because if you got it wrong, it was obviously high risk.
Yeah, got it wrong, it was high risk, and somehow that ring was just a motivator to get it right.
Did you see? Are you kidding? Did he genuinely like whack people?
Really? Turn that ring around and get whacked on the back of the. Well,
Jesus,
it's the
times have changed, eh?
The old days.
The old days.
The good old days. Corporal punishment was a thing, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
Go on.
So at any rate, I left there. I went into cardiac rehab program outside of Charlotte, worked in cardiac rehab. And really, my whole background was really all about aerobic exercise and rehabilitative exercise. And shortly thereafter, I went into corporate fitness. I ran a program for Westinghouse in Pittsburgh area, health promotion program and fitness center, and then went on to Philadelphia, which brought me near where Roger was, and ran a program for Arco Chemical, or corporate headquarters in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. And then shortly thereafter, I took a job with the Graduate Hospital. They had a human performance lab that was an ancillary facility in Wayne, Pennsylvania. And it was kind of like their hopes were to make it kind of like, the Colorado Springs facility, where they were testing, athletes and this type of thing. So we had 2 fairly sophisticated metabolic labs where we were doing direct gas analysis with people that were on a treadmill or on a bike or wherever, and measuring VO2. We had an underwater weighing tank that was in the floor with a pulmonary unit in there, so we could do nitrogen washouts and get their residual volumes and actually know what the residual volume is before we drop them into the tank. And so we had that strength lab, so to speak. And we were doing a lot of reliability validation type studies for instrumentation, metabolic cards, for example, and or impedance was coming out at that time. And so we were looking at impedance devices against the hydrostatic weighing and against, skin folds and circumferences and whatever else. So there were a couple of PhDs that ran the place, and they were writing papers, and basically I was doing myself and my lab partner, we were doing all the grunt work. So,
right.
I did, my claim to fame there was I built an automated anaerobic power bike test for the Wingate anaerobic power test. So, so I actually integrated it and to a computer, wrote a little program so that we could actually not have to physically count revolutions on the bike, bike pedals and this type of thing. So automated the whole thing. It was great. And so I thought it was great. I thought we should have gotten it patented, but then never happened. Mm-hmm. And some other guys came out and did it. So.
Right.
So we did all the testing for the Philadelphia Flyers, all their physiologic testing, all the hockey players, and we consulted to the Chicago Blackhawks, did all their testing as well, and did a little bit of work with the Philadelphia Eagles. My most memorable moment with them was they had a lineman that came to, they wanted to get some weight off of them. So we ran them through the whole gambit of testing, and we put them in the underwater weighing tank, which was, again, floor level. And so we had measured his RV, and we dropped him in the tank, and he started displacing so much water that it's just pouring over the sides of the tank. So we're on the floor scooping with our arms, scooping water into the drains because we were so fearful we were going to electrocute him.
Oh, I see.
All the elect.
Yeah, God. Big guy then.
But he was a big guy. Yeah, a guy named Jerome Brown. He was unfortunately killed in a car wreck.
Oh, so ill. No.
But here and there, it was a pretty memorable experience. But we had a strength lab that had, in the strength lab, its key feature was the MedX lumbar extension machine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think our serial number was like 002 or 3 or something like that.
Wow.
But we had one of the first, iterations of it that came out. And so they sent me to the University of Florida to train on to do their certification. So I was actually in the lumbar extension certification class, and I met Roger Schwab there. And Roger was opening up a very specialized physical therapy business that was going to treat only low backs with the MedX lumbar extension machine. And I think his serial number was 001 or something. Yeah. So our labs were probably about 5 miles away from Roger as a crow flies. And so here we are, and he's wondering why one of the largest hospitals in the Philadelphia area has a MedX lumbar extension machine and why it's so close to him. And are we going to compete with him? And, which wasn't the case at all. We were using it purely just to do research on it. And so Roger and I became great friends. And then also, I don't know if you know Ed Collins. I think it's Ed Collins.
Yeah, Ed Collins. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ed was in that class as well. And,
Okay.
Pretty issues. So that I saw his name in the community. So I reached out to him recently and had a nice exchange with him. So Roger and I, after that, started to meet for lunch, maybe on like a monthly basis, and talk about exercise. He was picking my brain on my thoughts on exercise, and then basically he was, I think, indoctrinating me into the whole world of high intensity training. My first experience with high intensity training was when I was back in doing my first graduate program. And the baseball coach came to me and said, I want you to train my baseball players on this blue and black Nautilus circuit that's above the pool at Brees Gym. So Brees Gym was an old gym, had an indoor pool, and the gym was on the second floor above the pool, and it would get so hot and humid in there that it was like training in a sauna. So there was a circuit of blue and black Nautilus equipment in there that I took his baseball players through because they could not compete with the nicer training facility, let's say nicer training facility that the football team used. So the football team was really using the crappy. They were using the really nice Nautilus equipment.
Funny. Yeah.
But I didn't really embrace it until I met Roger and we started having these conversations. And I trained at his facility, Mainline Health Fitness, which is at the time was about a 6,000 square foot facility, packed with Nautilus equipment. I mean, there was so much equipment in this little tiny space. It was silly, and you could barely move through the maze, the network of machines in there. But it was awesome. It was a great dynamic.
Even with 6,000 square feet, you still could move.
It was
so many
a
machines.
scam. Yeah. So, for example, the trainers would used to race each other across the tops of the machines to see who could get around the gym the fastest. That's how close the machines were together.
Well, hang on. They would
get
on top of the machine.
They would have a race going from machine to machine on tops of the machines to see.
That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It was, but again, this back in the old days. I'm sure OSHA wasn't peeking through the windows. So, but here or there. So great conversations and blah, blah, blah. And Roger always said, I'd like for you to come work for me, one day, but he goes, I'm going to do an expansion. And after that expansion, I'll talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I never really took it serious. I ended up moving to California to run a program, a health-related diet program, actually, in the Napa Valley at a hospital, St. Helena Hospital. Well, they hired me as an exercise physiologist, and then I ended up running this program. Had only been there about a year, and I get a call from Roger. And he says, I'd like for you to come back to Philadelphia. I want to bring you into Mainline Health and Fitness. We've gone from 6,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, gosh, and I have a 1-year-old, and my wife, I moved my wife across country, and now we have her first child is now 1 year old. And I said, well, we just moved down here, Roger. He said, well, write me a proposal and send it to me, and we'll see what we can do. And I'm like, okay.
All right.
So I wrote a proposal, and he accepted it. And of course, I'm
$200,000 a year.
I wish it were that. I was kicking myself for not asking for more.
Yeah.
But he did pay for my move back across country.
Okay.
And then that's where I started at Mainline Health and Fitness, and actually went down to the University of Florida, did another training down there when they had expanded the equipment line, the clinical equipment. And so Mainline Health and Fitness then had under its roof this large cardio area on the first floor, which was the bane of Roger's existence. He hated cardio. But he had to have it to compete. And
I felt like he had to have it because every big kind of commercial club had that as well, right?
It really had that. And then all the strength training equipment went on to the third floor. There was a middle floor that had professional offices on it.
Oh, right. Like corporate offices of other companies.
Like dental, and they were medical professionals for the most part.
Oh, so like partnerships. They're like partners.
No, they weren't partners. They were just renting space. So he didn't own the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Right. He did not own the building at the time. Now I think later he did eventually buy that building.
Right.
So I can't imagine sitting in the dentist chair on the second floor and somebody drops a weight stack and the dentist has got a drill in your mouth. But
yeah, good point.
I'm saying it probably happened.
You're right. Well, I was wondering if they're kind of like medical professions, dental. I don't know what the other ones were, but I thought there might be some overlap, referrals going back and forth potentially.
There were some referral, but not really a lot, because he brought Mainline Medical Exercise in. That was the physical therapy business. That was also on the third floor, and it featured the cervical extension, the rotary neck, rotary torso, lumbar extension, and also the knee machine. Yeah. So he had a full-on physical therapy there. He was also doing myofascial release, and so he had pretty good setup there. And then there was also a competing on the first floor, a competing business that was all studio exercise, aerobic dance and step and all that.
Like classes and things like that.
Classes, right. Called, I think it was called Fitness Factory. He ended up buying it from.
What, just so that he didn't have to compete with them anymore?
Didn't have to compete with them anymore. And
because at the time that would have been more popular, would it? I don't know, actually. This is the 80s, so.
It was, yeah. So it was early 90s and early to mid 90s. And
okay.
Yeah, step aerobics was huge at the time. And and then he brought in Jeff Lurie, who was the owner of the Eagles, brought in a yoga guru, a guy named Baron Baptiste, who was a big hot yoga. And so Roger brought him in and started hot yoga, converted one of the rooms into a hot yoga room. Right. Which is perfectly awful. But It was hot and smelly, but at any rate, people loved it. And then he also put in one of the first spinning bike studios over there as well. When when Schwinn came out with the Johnny G spinner. So we had Johnny G out to the club, put in one of those first spinning classes in the Philadelphia area.
Today's episode is sponsored by Imagine Strength, the game changer in safe, simple, and effective high-intensity training machines. When it comes to HIT, Imagine Strength is your go-to for intelligently designed, efficient, and affordable equipment. Their team is passionate about HIT, and it shows in every piece they craft. So why are Imagine Strength the right choice? Number one, they tailor-make their equipment for HIT studios. Number two, they provide cost-effective solutions for your business. And number three, they are committed to ongoing innovation and refinement. Ready to take your HIT business to the next level? Visit imaginestrength.com to discuss your needs and find the perfect gear for your studio. Join the HIT revolution of Imagine Strength and transform your workout experience today. So just remind us, what did you have on the weight floor in terms of machines? You had the whole physio, medics.
Yeah, we had all the knowledge. It was a Nautilus museum. So we had all the old, like one of my favorites was the duo leg press. So no one ever, but like a duo leg press, duo squat sitting next to each other. We had all the pullovers.
Okay. What was it all Nautilus mold? Different generations
of Nautilus, and then eventually when the Medic commercial line came out, it started putting the Medic commercial line in as well. So we had all that as well. The old hip and back machine was in there, and so it was really interesting. And then of course during that time I met Kevin Tolbert was working there as well, and so. He worked primarily in mainline medical exercise, but Kevin and I became good friends and training partners, and so Kevin would beat the stuffing out of me. We were at the time training 3 days a week, and
well, you would with all those machines, right?
And 3 days a week and doing anywhere between 12 and 18 exercises of the workout, and it was not uncommon for me to go down to my office, which was on the second floor, after a workout and lay on the floor and have a trash can right by me because it was awful.
Jeez. Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead.
So it was a good time. Then I also trained with Roger's nephew, who was there as well, Jeff Greenberg. So it was quite a learning experience for me.
So just for everyone listening, we're going to be talking about something really interesting soon in terms of the HIT Studio Timesaver service that you're providing, which I think is very valuable. But before we get there, it'd be great to talk a little bit more about Roger, who sadly passed away earlier this year. Yeah. And can you it's so interesting to me to hear you say he started sort of indoctrinating you into high intensity training. Do you remember having any particular aha moments when you were having your lunches with Roger or training where you're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense?
Well, yeah. Well, I'll digress because before I met Roger, when I was in Pittsburgh, I worked out my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, took me to a Nautilus training studio outside of Pittsburgh, a little place called New Kensington, I think. And they had a couple of circuits of Nautilus machines in there. And so I was just trying to impress my girlfriend at the time, and I thought go there for a workout, of course. And this little girl who was the trainer there took me through the workout and beat the living bejesus out of me with Tony. And when it was all said and done, I was laying in the janitor's closet after the workout, I kid you not, it was a janitor's closet. There was a mop bucket in there and all their cleaning supplies. And I'm throwing up in the mop bucket.
Oh my God.
And so I worked hard,
Yeah.
but I guess the real appreciation of it did not come until I started actually training on a regular basis. And I don't know if there was any particular aha moment, but I began to recognize from an empirical point of view, Roger had this great worldview of what Nautilus was all about, and knew it, or was I guess so into it and so in tune with it that he knew the value of the workouts before the science actually had caught up with it. And I was always so impressed by his passion and his commitment to it, and never wanting to, and never compromising. So somebody might come to him with an idea. Hey, Roger, have you seen the blah blah blah? Yeah. He would dismiss it, right out of hand.
Would he say face, or would he just say, "Yeah, that sounds like a total load of crap"? Like
he was very much a tactician.
Okay.
So he was very good, but he would pretty much dismiss it out of hand.
Of course, yeah.
It was hard enough for him to put a cardio area in. It was hard enough for him to compromise with hot yoga and spinning.
I can imagine.
He thought it was all a load of hoop.
Yeah.
But he understood he also had to compete as well. But it was really just the training with Roger.
Did you train each other as well, you and Roger, much?
I did have the opportunity to train Roger, and he trained me as well. And then so that was from time to time. I would say
what sort of instructional cues or tips did you pick up from Roger that you use?
Well, yeah. So Roger's coaching was pretty direct, right? So there was not a lot of I know a lot of coaches. I've seen this. There's this chronic dialogue that goes on through the work, through the set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roger was more like, setting the tone of what you're going to be doing, and then pointing out, making corrections as you were going along, and then when it came to that moment where you're approaching fatigue, that he would step up the encouragement, if you would call it that, and then
Sounds like he was quite aggressive with his approach.
and
It's a failure.
he I would say he was a very somewhat assertive, and but he believed in it. He believed in working the momentary muscle fatigue, working to failure, there was no messing around, right? It was, go from hit failure, go hit the next machine, no messing around, one machine to the next. And that's the way he taught all the trainers there. I mean, everybody that trained there had to be indoctrinated to the training philosophy. And then, of course, training with Kevin Tolbert. Most people, I don't know if they know who Kevin, but if you search high intensity training and Kevin Tolbert, you'll see kind of he's one of the old school guys. He trained out of Ken Leishner's gym, Iron Island gym, Long Island. He grew up on Long Island, and his father died when he was young. And Ken kind of adopted him as his own. And Kevin and I were the same height, 5'10", but Kevin had a 52-inch chest and, like 21.5-inch arms, and
It's only slightly larger than yourself.
33-inch thighs. He was, a massive humanity, right? And you'd almost have to do kind of a second, second look at him if he walked by, because he was such a natural, he was so comfortable in his frame, and that he didn't do the typical posture.
Oh
Some
God,
people
that
do
drives me mad. That
when they're carrying their, scratching around and whatever. But yeah, so really great guy. And Kevin didn't mess around either. Kevin would beat them. So highly influenced by Roger and by Kevin Tolbert in terms of my training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of pre-fatigue. Roger was a big pre-fatigue, pre-exhaust.
Like single joint into multi-joint, that type of thing.
Yeah, so a single joint motion to a multiple joint motion. I think I posted some of those on.
You did?
The community.
Yeah.
But so I really cut my teeth on doing a lot of pre-exhaust training. Yeah.
So I know we got a hard stop coming up, and I really want to make sure we talk about what you're doing now. I certainly want to do more content with yourself and others about Roger, because obviously it's been I've not put out as much content as I would like about that topic since his passing, and I think there's so much more to share, which we will plan to do. But you started this new service called HIT Studio Timesaver, which is a great idea, basically helping out our colleagues in high intensity training who may be short a trainer and they need someone to step in, or maybe they want to take some time off for vacation, or have some time to work on the business, as you put it before. And it's difficult enough sometimes in our space to get trainers and find the right people. And so you have a great sort of niche that you can fill there. What I'm curious, tell us a bit more about it, and what kind of gave you the inspiration to do it.
Well, yeah, the inspiration really came from I was working out at Live Oak Strength and training there, and then relocated back to North Carolina after being there. And I love Live Oak Strength. I want to tell you, this is one of the greatest facilities I've ever, greatest places I've ever worked in, right along with Mainline Health and Fitness. Different environment for sure, but it's just a great place. And so
That's Live Oak Strength. That's Owen Dockham's business in Berkeley, California. For anyone curious, but go on.
And so just had a great experience there, great time there, and so moved back to North Carolina. I wanted to have a mother that's not well and a sister not well, so I wanted to be back closer to home and be able to help out. And but still I'm very passionate about my training and working in that business, and which has been kind of hard in rural Western North Carolina. But at any rate, Owen called me and asked me to come and help out for 10 days while he and Lucy, his wife, were expecting a new child. He was wanting to kind of get some things in order, and I just needed the time because he also works in the business as well. So I went back and worked there for 10 days, did about 80 sessions, and got to see some old clients, got to meet some new clients. I got to work with the old training staff, some of the old training staff, and then actually train a new trainer that was coming on board, working with him. He had absolutely no experience, and help him to develop a rhythm as far as the training was concerned. And so that was really kind of the aha moment for me, going, man, I would really like to do this wherever it's needed, right? Because I know there are other studios, throughout the U.S., Canada, and potentially the world.
Absolutely.
I would love to have the opportunity to help out. I mean, whether it's just needing an opportunity to step back from your business, because I know that a lot of these folks are very entrepreneurial. They're working hard on their businesses to get them going. And with that, you can develop some burnout, or you may be someone who's worked in the business for a very long time, and you're kind of getting to that point of burnout because you've moved away from the thing you really enjoy doing because of all the different responsibilities that come as the role shifts into becoming a larger business owner, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, so being able to help a owner, a studio owner, to step away from their business to get a better work life, work family type life, kind of get a maybe a fresh perspective or whatever. Get some kind of relief from the grind. And then, of course, if you have trainers, I know that in this industry, that finding people who are high intensity trainers who have that degree of specialty is very difficult. And so if there's a need, if you lose someone, and there's a transition, then I'd love to be able to come in and help with that transition. Train clients, onboard a new trainer that maybe someone has all the great qualities of a trainer, but doesn't know Shasha from Shinola when it comes to high intensity training. And so would love to help out with that. And then it's just a great opportunity for me to, as I'm in the later stages of my life, getting into the twilight here. And
don't be silly.
And
well, you look great.
Well, thank you. I'm aspiring to be an 84-year-old Swede. So, but I'd love to. I'd love the opportunity to see other facilities and to learn. I mean, there's plenty for me to learn as well. And so I see all these great folks in the high intensity business community. They're just doing awesome things, and I see their the comments that are made, and the different areas of the subject matter, different areas of subject matter to come up, and they're just so interesting. And so I would love to get into some of these facilities and actually learn myself, but also not be a hindrance, but be a help, right? And so if there's a bind, help with the transition, or help to get you some time away.
Side note, we had an arm wrestle at REC, didn't we? At the REC conference last year.
No, I think we need to arm wrestle.
Did we not do that? I thought we had an arm wrestle, and I couldn't remember who won, but I'm assuming you probably did.
No. Little tiny arms.
Well, thank you for going through that. I think it's a great idea. And I know that Owen is very sad that you're no longer there. And Owen says nothing but incredibly positive things about your skill level and the value that you brought to Live Oak Extreme. So for anyone who,
yeah, I hope I get an opportunity to get back out there again.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And so tell us, if people are interested in talking to you about this service, the HIT Studio Timesaver service, what's the best way for them to do that? How should they contact you?
I think the best way to reach me is presently to reach me through the high intensity business messaging.
Okay.
Or you can email me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my name, chuck.bixby@gmail.com.
Very good.
And I don't mind if you call me either. So I can give you a phone number.
Go for it.
Yeah, 916-759-9015. So I'm very open to receiving calls and or emails and or reaching out to me through the incredible community that you're running. Well, interesting.
Well, thanks for your kind words, Chuck. So we'll put all this in the show notes on highintensitybusiness.com. I was going to say the episode number, but I have no idea. If you go to highintensitybusiness.com and just search Chuck, it will come straight up. Also, what might come up is a primer that Chuck wrote years ago for my blog, which is like a high intensity training primer for people that are getting started. That's very good, and it's still on the website. So you can check that out as well. We'll link to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just to repeat the email, that's Chuck chuck.bixby, Bixby @gmail.com. You're very lucky to get that email. That's a good one to get your full name like that. And the phone number will be on the site as well. I appreciate all your kind words about the high intensity business community as well. If you are listening to this and you are looking to start a HIT business, or you run one and you want more clients, you want to grow, please join us. And you can find out all the information to join High Intensity Business over at highintensitybusiness.com/school, spelled SKOOL. So it's the cool version of school. And we've got links to that everywhere, wherever you find High Intensity Business as well. So, and obviously you can connect with Chuck there, where he is constantly delivering wonderful value through his insightful comments and valuable posts, which I very much appreciate.
I do my best.
You do a very good job. Chuck, we must do a part 2, talk more about your history of Roger and other things. But thank you so much for making the time. And to everyone listening, this is Lawrence with High Intensity Business. I appreciate your time. And Chuck, thank you for yours as well.
Thank you. Very grateful.
This episode is brought to you by Imagine Strength, your go-to for safe, simple, and effective high-intensity training equipment. Growing a successful high-intensity training business requires workout equipment that's not only high quality, but also intelligently designed to fit the unique needs of your studio. And that's where Imagine Strength comes in. Drawing on the wisdom of the legendary Arthur Jones, Imagine Strength has crafted a groundbreaking line of fitness equipment that's as affordable as it is efficient, giving your studio the upgrade it needs without breaking the bank. The team at Imagine Strength breathes HIT. Their passion for high-intensity training shines through in their designs, which they've consistently refined and innovated for optimum effectiveness and user experience. From my personal experience at Rec, I can attest to the careful consideration and craftsmanship that goes into every single piece. My Imagine Strength workout was absolutely brutal, in a good way, of course. Now, what makes Imagine Strength truly stand out? They have innovative equipment tailored for the unique needs of HIT studios, affordable and efficient designs, lowering the barriers to entry for a HIT business, continuous innovation and refinement, ensuring your studio stays ahead of the curve. Founder Jeff Turner and his team are dedicated to moving the HIT industry forward and making strength training accessible to more people than ever before. Here's how you get started. Number 1, visit imaginestrength.com. Number 2, discuss your specific needs with the team. And number 3, select the equipment that will propel your business to the next level. Head to imaginestrength.com today and give your HIT business the Imagine Strength edge. Be part of the HIT revolution and see firsthand how their unique equipment can transform your studio's workout experience. Elevate your HIT business with Imagine Strength. Let's go.